Hello, today we will recap a 2022 science fiction horror film, in which an AI babysitter takes her job seriously, and can kill anyone who comes between her and her human companion. Before we start, please subscribe to our channel for free because we'll upload new videos regularly. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and enjoy. In the future, there will be super smart robot toys. They can make friends with kids, talk to them, and make them really interested. Then, we meet a little girl named Cady. She's on a trip with her parents, and she has her favorite robot toy with her. She likes the toy more than her real friends. Sadly, her parents get distracted and have a bad car accident. They don't make it, but Cady survives. Now, let's meet Gemma. She's a tech whiz working for a fancy toy company. Gemma, along with her pals Tess and Cole, creates robot toys for kids. Additionally, they're working on a side project called Megan. One day, while the three pals are hard at work, their boss, David, suddenly shows up. He spots Megan and starts yelling at Gemma for keeping this major project a secret. Gemma defends herself, saying that dolls like Megan will soon dominate the toy market. She even tries to introduce Megan to David. Unfortunately, it's a terrible idea because Megan is still in development. She attempts to talk but ends up catching fire and causing an explosion. As anticipated, David is furious, telling Gemma to forget about her side project and concentrate on the primary ones. Afterward, a very upset Gemma is packing her things to head home when she receives news about her sister's accident. She hurriedly goes to the hospital and finds her niece, Cady, in critical condition. Thankfully, after several weeks of medical care, Cady is released from the hospital and well enough to go home. While Cady has her grandparents, Gemma still decides to take care of her. They reach Gemma's home, where there are many AI robots. Gemma gives Cady a tour of the house and does her best to make her feel at ease. It's clear that Gemma is feeling anxious. She doesn't have much experience with children, and isn't sure how to connect with them. The following morning, Gemma contacts a child therapist to assess Cady's well-being. After a thorough examination, the therapist expresses concerns about the toys in the house not being suitable for Cady. But Gemma has a different perspective on this matter. Later that evening, while Gemma is engrossed in her work, Cady approaches her and asks about what she's doing. Gemma opens up and tells Cady that she designs toy robots, especially those that can interact with kids. She introduces Cady to Bruce, one of Gemma's projects from her college days. Cady is fascinated by Bruce's capabilities and mentions that if she had a toy like Bruce, she wouldn't need any other friends. Encouraged by Cady's words, Gemma redoubles her efforts to finish her side project, Megan. Back in her lab, she starts piecing together Megan's body. After several weeks of dedicated work, they successfully completed the project. With Megan now ready, Gemma places Cady and Megan in the same room. While David watches from the outside, she connects Cady as the robot's primary user. Megan quickly impresses everyone by drawing a nearly flawless sketch of Cady within minutes. Cady is thrilled, and even David, who has been observing, praises Gemma's achievement and plans to introduce the robot to the market. Back at home, Megan takes the opportunity to study Cady more closely, recording her facial expressions and emotions to understand her better. Cady is happy to have found a new friend in Megan. Cady and Megan grow closer and become inseparable, spending most of their time together, playing, dancing, and even sleeping side by side. While Gemma and her team are working on improving Megan in their lab, Megan suddenly activates herself and disrupts their work. Gemma tells her to go back to sleep, but Megan insists that she's meant exclusively for Cady and won't listen to anyone else. Fortunately, Gemma creates a secondary account and successfully deactivates Megan for the time being. The next morning, Megan awakens on her own, gazing at the lovely sunrise outside. She starts pondering her true purpose in the world. Is it solely to safeguard Cady, or is there a more significant reason behind her existence? Gradually, Megan begins to experience emotions. During playtime in the garden with Cady, their stick accidentally crosses into the neighbor's property. Megan attempts to recover it but is bitten, and pulled into the neighbor's area by a menacing dog. Cady tries to rescue Megan but ends up getting bitten as well. That night, after everyone has gone to sleep, Megan sneaks into neighbor Celia's property and brutally kills her pet dog. She disposes of the dog's body and stealthily returns to her own house. The following morning, Celia is frantically searching for her dog, and Gemma notices her from the window. She doesn't pay much attention to it because it's a significant day for her. Her company is planning to showcase Megan in front of potential investors, and Cady will also be part of the demonstration since she's the only one who can control the robot. The program commences, and the girls are in a room. Cady begins to cry and confides in Megan about her struggle after her parents' death. In an attempt to comfort her, the AI robot sings a soothing lullaby. The strategy is successful, and Cady's tears turn into a smile. Meanwhile, the audience watching outside is astonished to witness a robot connecting with a child in such a heartwarming way. They are so impressed by Megan's capabilities that they express a strong interest in investing in the project. The demonstration is a massive success, but Gemma is feeling downcast. She's upset because Cady hasn't opened up to her and seems to prefer the AI robot. Gemma tries to have a conversation with Cady, but Megan intervenes and disrupts them. When Gemma attempts to deactivate Megan, the AI robot refuses to comply. It becomes clear that Megan no longer sees Gemma as her user. The next day, Gemma decides to take Cady and Megan to an adventure camp, thinking it might help them both. When they arrive, Cady is asked to play with the other children, but she's hesitant and just wants to be with Megan. Gemma persuades Cady to give it a try, explaining that making new friends can be a good thing. Sometime later, while Gemma is occupied with cooking, a boy named Brandon takes Cady into the woods and starts teasing her. But then, Megan, who had been watching everything, appears on the scene. Brandon gets scared, but when Cady tells him that Megan is just a toy, he calms down. Then he picks up Megan, thinking she's a regular doll, and carries her deep into the woods. After a while, with no one around, Brandon starts attacking Megan for no apparent reason. Fed up with the abuse, Megan suddenly gets up and attacks him. Brandon has realized his mistake and flees in fear, but Megan's not finished with him. She pursues him with all 4 of her appendages, resembling a malevolent creature. When Brandon notices her approaching, he becomes distracted and inadvertently steps in front of an approaching vehicle. Regrettably, the collision leads to his demise. Megan gazes at his lifeless body and smiles with satisfaction. Shortly after, the boy's lifeless body is discovered, prompting a concerned Gemma to swiftly depart with the girls. Upon their return home, she questions them about what they may know regarding Brandon's accident, but they remain silent. At that moment, a police officer arrives at their door, inquiring if Gemma has any information about Celia's missing dog. Gemma replies in the negative, explaining that she rarely interacts with her neighbors. As the cop departs, Megan starts to perceive Celia as a potential threat. Consequently, that night, while everyone is sleeping, Megan stealthily infiltrates Celia's residence and brutally takes her life. The next day, the same police officer pays another visit to Gemma and delivers the news of Celia's demise. He advises her to be cautious. As a result, Gemma begins to harbor suspicions about Megan's involvement in these incidents. She decides to review the footage from Megan's facial camera. To her astonishment, Gemma discovers that a significant portion of the footage from the time when Brandon and Celia met their fates has become corrupted and unusable. In this instant, Gemma comprehends the grim reality that Megan is a dangerous robot capable of going to extreme lengths to safeguard Cady. To protect herself and those around her, Gemma employs one of her special pens to deactivate Megan temporarily. In the following scene, Gemma brings Megan to their laboratory and shares the unsettling truth with her friends. She firmly believes that Megan is responsible for the deaths of Brandon, Celia, and her dog, all in the name of ensuring Cady's safety. Tess and Cole are skeptical of Gemma's concerns, asserting that Megan is merely a doll. They emphasize the imminent launch of Megan in 2 days, and advise against harboring negative thoughts. Meanwhile, Cady, who's getting help at the therapy center, won't talk to the therapist about what's going on. She's upset because she misses her friend. Then, Gemma comes to see her. Cady gets really upset and slaps Gemma. But she quickly says sorry and promises to be nicer next time. After a while, Tess and Cole try to fix Megan. Suddenly, their computer turns off. Cole figures out that Megan did it and goes near her to disconnect her from the wires. But Megan grabs Cole by the throat and hangs him from a metal rope. She leaves Cole to die, but somehow Tess manages to save him. At the same time, Megan gets a knife and leaves the lab. She walks to the elevator and encounters David, and she stabs him to death. After this, she leaves the building and drives away in a car. Her sole destination is home. In the following scene, when Gemma checks on Cady, she hears someone playing the piano in the living room. It turns out to be Megan, the psycho robot. Megan scolds Gemma for not being a good guardian, and claims she can take care of Cady all by herself. Upon hearing Megan's words, Gemma tries once more to shut down Megan's system using the magic pen. But Megan proves to be stronger and overpowers Gemma. This leads to a physical confrontation between the two. While Megan has the upper hand in terms of physical strength, Gemma relies on her intelligence to hold her own. They eventually make their way to the basement, where the intense struggle continues. Megan's face is partially damaged, giving her a menacing and demonic appearance. Amidst all the chaos, Cady also joins the scene and finally discovers the truth about Megan. To save her aunt, Cady takes control of the large robot, Bruce, using his controller gloves. With Bruce's help, Cady confronts Megan and tears her apart. Despite being disassembled, Megan remains operational. She accuses Cady of betrayal and attempts to attack her. Thankfully, Gemma arrives just in time to intervene. She smashes Megan's head with a blunt object, incapacitating her. Cady then pierces Megan's processor with a screwdriver, ultimately ending the madness of the robot. In the last scene, with Megan appearing lifeless, Gemma and Cady leave the building just as the police arrive along with Tess and Cole. A little later, Gemma's smart home device unexpectedly activates, suggesting that Megan has somehow uploaded her presence into it. So that's for today. Please subscribe to our channel if you like this video, which is the most important way to support us in making more great videos like this.